Hello, my name is Robert Dean Steele, and this is your daily Bible class. We've been looking at Revelation chapter 14, and now we're looking at Revelation chapter 14:13. Listen to what it says. And I heard a voice from heaven saying unto me, Write, blessed are the dead which die in the Lord from henceforth. Yea, saith the Spirit, they shall rest from their labors and the works that do follow them. He says, you are blessed when you die in the Lord. He says, this is what the Spirit says. They are going to rest from their labors and their works are going to follow them. There is a wonderful reward waiting for all those who die during the tribulation period. They're going to have a rest. They're going to be blessed. And John was given the responsibility of writing it down and just kind of reminding all those who were reading it and all those who will experience, you know what? There is a time of rest coming, a time of rest in the Lord. It's a wonderful rest. It's a fabulous rest. But the sorrow, the tragedy that we face for a short period of time in our lives is nothing in comparison to what is waiting for us, the rewards that are waiting for us, the commendations that we're going to receive, the words from the Lord who will say, well done, thou good and faithful servant, enter into my rest. Now verse number 14 says, and I looked and behold a white cloud, and upon the white cloud sat the Son of Man, having on his head a golden crown, and in his hand a sharp sickle. So we have Jesus Christ sitting on a crown, or sitting on a cloud, by the way, and on his head he has a golden crown, and in his hand is a sickle. Something about to happen is going to happen. Verse number 15 says, another angel came out of the temple, crying in a loud voice to him who sat on the cloud, thrust in your sickle and reap, for the time has come for you to reap a harvest, for the earth is ripe. You see, Jesus is sitting on this cloud, and an angel comes out of heaven and says, Jesus, it's time for you to reap. The harvest is ripe. That's what Jesus was saying when he said to his disciples. He says, the fields are ripe unto harvest. And Jesus is about to reap a harvest. And he who sat on the cloud thrust his sickle on the earth, and the earth was reaped. Literally, what he was saying was simply this, that God was now bringing in those that were finally going to come in. This was going to be the harvest that we've all been waiting for, the harvest of mankind. But as well, we learn something about that when it comes to the sharp sickle. So let's look at it for a moment. Verse number 17. Another angel came out of the temple, which is in heaven, he also having a sharp sickle. So we have Jesus reaping the harvest down on the earth. And then we have another angel also having a sharp sickle. But there's a difference between the angel and what Jesus was doing. Jesus was reaping the harvest of souls, bringing those in who were going to be saved, bringing those in who would accept Jesus. Because remember, even after all mankind has received the mark of the beast, there still seems to be a number of people that haven't. And so what's going to happen is that great harvest is going to happen. The second harvest, however, with the other angel that came out from the altar, he had power over fire and cried in a loud voice and had the sickle and said, thrust the sickle and gather the clusters of the vine on the earth and her grapes that are fully ripe. Now, John understood all of this. This was something that he was very much familiar with because he was raised in the Galilee. And the Galilee was known as a place of fruitfulness. And wine and grapes and all of that was very familiar to him. In fact, part of the Jewish diet was wine. So he understood, and he also understood the whole concept of how it happened. And so he says, listen, the wine press and the clusters on the earth are fully ripe. It's ready, it's time. And so the angel thrust his sickle on the earth and gathered the vine of the earth and cast it into the great winepress of God's wrath. And the winepress was trodden without the city, and blood came up to the winepress, even to the horse bridles, under the space of 1,600 furlongs. I mean, when the wrath comes, it will be like blood. And there will be a great harvest. But it's not a harvest of souls. It's a harvest of judgment. And the extent will be so much. So many people will die. So many people will face the judgment of God that it will be up to the horse's bridle. A horse's bridle comes up to about 4.5 to 5 feet. Think about that. How many people are going to perish under this sharp sickle, under this winepress of God's wrath? Once again, we have the parallel between the grace of God and the judgment of God. Here we have in Revelation chapter 14, Jesus Christ reaping this wonderful harvest, mankind being called away from the idolatry and away from the illusion of the Antichrist and all of that, and being called to God. And then on the other hand, the judgment of God. On one hand, the mercy of God, on the other hand, the judgment of God. And all of it comes down to personal choice. You see, God gives us the choice. And that's what really is amazing to me, is how many people refuse the choice of serving God. You may be watching this video right now, and you're thinking, this guy's as crazy as a bedbug. But listen, this is what the Word of God says. These things are actually going to happen. Every man may be a liar, but the Word of God is true. And so as we look at Revelation chapter 14, as we look at this parallel between judgment and grace, as we look at the comparison between the two, I don't think you want to find yourself on the side of evil. I trust that you want to be on the side of good. That you'll give your life to Jesus right now, and you'll say, yes, Lord, I want to be ready. And I don't want to be one of those people who have to face God's judgment. In this case, it will be so bad that the blood will flow as high as the horse's bridle in that place. Something to think about. Well, I trust that you'll give your life to Jesus Christ today, and that you'll serve Him with all your heart. And if you're a believer, then you are all ready, but you need to tell people about what's coming. So today, think about that. My name is Robert Dean Steele. This is your daily Bible class. You have yourself a godly day.